Soreness is not progress. It never was. Every time a man hits the floor for his third set and his chest starts burning, every time he wakes up 2 days later and can barely lift his arms over his head, he has been told this is adaptation. This is how the body grows. This is the price of getting stronger. It is not. It is the price of a training model that was sold to the Western world in the 1980s and has never been seriously questioned since. And there is a group of men from the other side of the Cold War whose bodies proved every single morning that the entire premise was wrong. A Soviet military base somewhere east of the Ural Mountains. The temperature outside is well below freezing. Before sunrise, before food, before the day has officially begun, a line of soldiers drops to the frozen parade ground and begins to press. Not 10 repetitions, not 50, but 200. And the next morning, in the same cold, on the same ground, they do it again. And the morning after that, no rest days, no protein recovery windows, no tapering, the same volume, the same intensity, every single day for years. These men were not freaks of genetics. They were not on anything the modern fitness industry would recognize as a supplement protocol. They were the product of a training philosophy that the Soviet sports science establishment had refined across decades of state-funded research, a philosophy built on one principle that Western commercial fitness has spent 40 years denying. The body does not need to be destroyed in order to improve. It needs to be signaled. To understand what they knew, it helps to understand what the modern gym still does not. The soreness that arrives 24 to 48 hours after a hard training session is not muscle growth in progress. It is microscopic damage at the cellular level, caused primarily by the lowering phase of every repetition pushed close to failure. The fibers tear, the inflammation cascade begins, and the body spends the next 2 to 3 days repairing the damage before it can train again. This is the entire architecture behind the modern training week. Hit a muscle group hard on Monday. Wait until Thursday. Hit it again. The Soviets looked at this cycle and saw a problem. If recovery from damage takes 72 hours, that means the muscle is only receiving a training signal twice per week. 2 opportunities to adapt, 2 chances to send the nervous system a message about what it needs to become capable of. From their perspective, this was not training. This was sabotage disguised as progress. Their solution was elegant. Never reach the threshold where damage begins. Stop every set well before failure. Keep the volume submaximal. Keep the form clean. Keep the nervous system engaged without ever pushing the tissue into a state that requires days of repair. And then train again tomorrow, and the morning after, and the morning after that. The result over months and years was a class of soldier who could perform daily volumes that would put a modern gym goer in bed for a week, with no soreness, no plateau, and no diminishing return. Because the body was never being asked to recover from injury. It was being asked every single morning to get slightly more efficient at a movement it had already practiced thousands of times. There are 4 principles inside this method, and any man with a floor and 10 minutes can apply them starting tomorrow. The first is distributed volume. Instead of one brutal session that destroys the chest and shoulders for 3 days, the total daily volume is spread across many small sessions throughout the day. 10 push-ups in the morning, 10 more an hour later, 10 before lunch, 10 in the afternoon. By evening, the total volume has matched or exceeded what a single failure-driven session would have produced, but no set ever came close to the damage threshold. The nervous system received the signal 20 times instead of once. This is the foundation of every elite high-frequency training system that has survived from the pre-commercial era of strength training, and it works because the muscle is being taught, not broken. The second principle is the submaximal rule. Every working set ends at roughly 40% of current maximum capacity. If a man can grind out 25 push-ups in a single all-out set before his form collapses, his working sets are 10, not 9, not 15. 10. This is the number that allows the movement to be repeated 5, 6, 7 times throughout the day without accumulating fatigue. It is also the number that, over 6 to 8 weeks, will raise the maximum from 25 to 40, at which point the working sets become 16. The third principle is breath. Every repetition is a complete respiratory cycle. Inhale through the nose on the descent. Brace the abdomen at the bottom. Exhale fully on the press up. This is not a relaxation technique. This is how the nervous system is told that the work is controlled, that there is no emergency, that the body does not need to flood itself with stress hormones in order to complete the movement. A push-up performed with held breath and gritted teeth is a different physiological event from a push-up performed with deliberate respiration. The first produces inflammation, the second produces adaptation. Same movement, same load, two entirely different outcomes inside the body. If you're finding value in this, please consider subscribing to my channel. I've got more unconventional training methods coming that will change your entire outlook on building up your body. The fourth principle is timing. The Soviet morning session was not chosen for aesthetic reasons or for discipline theater. It was chosen because the body itself had already decided when training should happen. Cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, peaks naturally within the first 30 minutes after waking. This is not a flaw in human design. It is the mechanism that was built to pull a man out of sleep and into capability before the sun rose, back when survival depended on being useful within minutes of opening the eyes. A short, submaximal bout of pressing work performed during that window uses the cortisol that is already present, converts it into productive energy output, and dissipates it before it can accumulate into the chronic baseline that drives most modern men into burnout by their mid-30s. Train within 30 minutes of waking, 40 to 60 total repetitions across 4 to 5 sets, all submaximal, all controlled. The hormonal day is set correctly before breakfast. 4 principles: distributed volume across the day, submaximal sets at 40%, breath on every repetition, morning timing inside the cortisol window, nothing else is required, no equipment, no supplements, no recovery week, no periodization spreadsheet. The men on that frozen parade ground east of the Urals were not pushing themselves into damage every morning, they were practicing themselves into capacity. There is a difference between those two things that takes years to fully understand and seconds to feel the first time it is experienced correctly. They had discovered through generations of trial and refinement rather than through laboratory instrumentation what the science would eventually confirm. The body does not require destruction to improve. It requires a clear, consistent, frequent signal delivered without panic, without ego, and without the modern mythology that suffering is the same thing as virtue. This is what was buried when the Western fitness industry decided in the 1980s that pain sells better than precision. It is what no commercial gym will ever teach, because there is nothing to sell inside a method that requires only a floor and a decision. And it is what every man who has ever wondered why his progress stalled after the first year of training has been quietly missing the entire time. The Soviets are one chapter inside the No Gym Warrior program, a 12-week bodyweight system covering the training methods of 6 warrior cultures across 5,000 years. No gym, 4 workouts a week. Link in the description. Subscribe if precision matters more than punishment. There is more of this waiting. Thank you for watching.